So on the monthly timeframes, right, when we start looking every week, at least I do, I'm in the habit that I basically start my chart sometimes fresh if I don't understand the picture or if there's too many lines that were intraday added or single prints. It's not a bad habit to kind of zoom out and look at the monthly timeframes and see what's happening. So on the monthlies, right, there's not much that's showing signs of slowdown yet. Right, we're higher highs, higher lows on the monthly profiles. We broke the value. We're out of balance on the monthlies. Still strong framing up, right? So there's no slowdown. It looked like they're gonna have a lowercase b, but they shifted this POC. And you guys can tell here that we have a nice little gap here, which would be testing the current month value area high here at the moment, right? So if you guys go here, I think it's 47 or so. This would be a monthly value area high that's developing. We don't have a lot of days left in the month, so there's a high chance that they're going to potentially pull that, and that's what I'm gathering from monthly, right? There's a chance that if they don't crack this, let's say 95 tomorrow on ES, that they might be going here, fit the 71 and 5267, and I'll explain those two levels a little bit more. But this is going to be a very, very important zone, and I'll cover that on a weekly profile. So monthly, nothing really to note. You have a new all-time high, and then we'll switch this to weekly time frame real quick on ES. And then just zoom out a little bit, hide the stuff so you can see it. And if you guys look here, what's happening here? What is happening in terms of value and price?
Taking value higher.
Okay, what about value or low?
It hasn't really moved much the past 2 weeks.
Yep, it shifted a little bit, from the weekly, but nothing, it's not a drastic where you say it's called an outside week on the value area, right? You went above, you went below, you didn't like it on the top. Now we're kind of seeing if they like it, right? If this is our previous week value area high, right? This is a fairly important level here, right? And if they can't crack this, right? So let's say if they can't crack this level 94, what would you guys anticipate? Let me turn on something for you guys so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about here. Let's turn this guy on the right. All right. Do you guys see what happened on the TPOs where I highlighted this area?
Yeah,
and it's the same on RTH. I'm not going to go back. But what happened is that we have single prints. I mean, you have a double, I would say maybe triple distribution. Let's call it double distribution profile. On a regular, it's going to be a double. And there's single prints in the middle. What does that tell you? Here are your single prints right here. Everybody see it?
Yeah.
So now, what is this telling you? Why is this level so important that I highlighted it in blue?
Because if we don't hold that and we go down, we'll go back to the previous all-time high.
Hold on, say it again. Yeah.
If we go down to those single prints, we might hit the previous all-time high.
Okay. Anyone else?
You have a double distribution formed. So essentially, that's the midpoint separating from an upper distribution to lower distribution, which goes better on volume profile than TPOs, I think.
Yep. So now what he's saying is that we can treat this day as upper distribution, and we are seeking acceptance to trade in between here. So the bulls believe the value should be here. If they can't hold this right here, that means that we're going to look to build value here, and that would be the second distribution. This would be this right here, and I'll change it to this color. Maybe not, maybe something more drastic than like this. Does that make sense now? This is being treated as two separate acceptances of price, meaning for now they're accepting the price unless they lose this teal color, blue, then they're going to be seeking acceptance below. And this is your monthly profile that's developing. It's a 3-week POC. So if we lose 67 here, there's a high chance that you're going to go to 5237. I would not be initiating any shorts at this level. what would you look to do if you take this short here? What would you do here?
Get out.
You want to cover that. You want to cover your short at this point. Doesn't mean you have to cover it all, but you might catch a nasty bounce here. It's a 3-week POC, and you see from that that exact level what happened last time.
Boom.
You know, it's an explosion. So it's not a level where you're like, yeah, let me take a short as soon as we crack that POC. I wouldn't do that. Okay. So if you short here, you're getting out here. But this is just a double distribution on ES. It's being treated as such. And you see that this node here is fairly massive. And if I was to enable, you know, this VRVP a little bit bigger, you would see how massive that shelf is right now. Okay. Does everybody understand why that weekly split is important?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so weekly is back. I mean, it's framing up. There's no bearish sign here either. There's a little bit of overlap, right? They overlapped here with the almost outside week. They overlapped here and outside week, and they exploded higher, right? Ever since. So you're watching to see what happens here, right? They would need to do, they would need to crack 51.96 to reverse the weekly low. Does that make sense? That's pretty wide, right? I mean, you're talking about 100 points, reverse and close below it to start kind of framing down. We haven't really had it in a long time. So we're still bullish, back a little bit unbalanced on the weekly. So let's keep an eye on that, right? As of right now, if they make a new low here, that would be a structural change. If you guys look, right? This would be definitely a structural change here where they would be doing what?
Change of character.
Visiting that blue line.
Yeah, so they will have a lower high and a lower low, right? So they would probably peak below it, come back, and then go down to this level. So just keep an eye on it. Okay. Any questions on weekly so far? Everybody up to speed? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now when you go on, we're gonna zoom in a little bit on the daily, right? So if you look at this, right, I mean, we are clearly, I would say, the value is shifting lower, right? I am not sure, like I'm reading a lot of stuff on Twitter. People are saying that this is a 2-day balance, right? In which way is this a 2-day
Yeah.
balance?
I'm a little confused. You're running this on RTY, RTH?
It shouldn't change much, but let's see. Value framing down. Let's see.
The reason I was asking is you went a bit lower on the weekly bot low.
Say it again.
The weekly low I had was down closer to 184. I think you were saying 96.
Clear low. Let's see. Let me enable it. 86 is what I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 96. I misheard you.
Yep. Previous week value area high is at 94.5. The extreme up. Okay. Well, let me go back. Switch to. So I really don't see the 2-day balance just forming yet. Maybe just because of the ranges, people are saying that. But in terms of value, I don't think there's much to argue. But where's the value on a 2-day balance? In terms of range, there's overlap, but we are shifting down. We put in a lower low. We're making lower highs. I don't see the 2-day balance. But maybe you're all different, right? Maybe you read the analysis a little bit differently. So as of right now, you're framing down, but the bears are really, when you think about it, they're not really winning yet. It might look like they're winning, but why are they not winning? Anyone want to take a chance what we just covered in previous 2 time frames?
We're still in the upper area.
I mean, guys, just zoom out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
look where we are. We're still holding up here. We haven't even challenged what this breakout value area high where those single nodes are. If we crack this, then my sentiment changes a little bit, right? Because then we're going to target this POC right here at 37. It's a little wider range, 39 to about 32, because there's a lot going on at this week. I mean, just zoom out. I mean, there's POC after value area high. So I have to adjust the range a little bit to be, it's about 9 points wide. But the idea is if they lose it and reclaim it, do not short it. Okay. So right now, I mean, for me, it's framing down on the daily, right? And that was the ultimate goal for the Bears at one point, right? Just because they were framing up pretty much every day. So now if they need to continue, if they're cracking the previous low of the day, which would be somewhere around, I believe was 87. If they're able to crack this tomorrow out of the gate and show confidence, this would be an easy short for me. If they show, I don't want to see any of this. If I see a candle and we're not coming back, this would be the target where you're looking to get it tomorrow, right? If they reclaim this PD POC and this level here, previous week value area high, I would not short it, right? This would be a really difficult short if they reclaim the POC and they pop out of the previous week extreme. That would be a big no. Does everybody follow so far?
Yeah.
You do not want them to reclaim this level and you're shorting. So PD POC and previous week value area high. So we'll just put this one on the bottom. So this little zone here is pretty dangerous, right? So 95 would be my, bullish sentiment. Above this, we can run. And then, if we do not reclaim this, if tonight we don't attempt to reclaim and during the RTH, if we pop above here and then we lose this previous week value area low, this would be an easy short and potentially all the way to here. So I would watch, look above, fail, and then, you crack this, you can enter a little bit here and then here, depends how you want to manage. Ideally, you would be targeting somewhere about 89, 71, that's about 18 points. Okay. But if they reclaim 95, just be careful because that all-time high would be quick. Okay. So this is volume profile. Oh, crap. What did I do? Let me turn on TPO real quick, just see if there's any anomalies. I didn't see any, but it's actually fairly easy analysis on this. I thought it was going to be more difficult to read. Let them turn on this stuff. It's almost like a diesel engine. You click it, then you press the gas, and it never goes. Maybe we have some youngsters, they wouldn't know what a carburetor is.
I'm not a very handy man,
So why am I marking this level here? What would
Poor
you guys-
high.
Yeah, definitely. It's a poor high. Does everybody know why it's a poor high?
No.
Okay. Does anyone want to take a chance? Explain it.
The auction didn't complete. It's unfinished business up there, so they probably would test it again.
Yep. So what she's referring to, if you guys are on TPO, man, somebody's mic. Not sure who that is. Whoa.
I hear it too, but
I
I
hear
don't
it.
know where it's coming from. Because nobody's mic is on.
What in the world is that? Let me drop and reconnect, man. That is loud.
No. We just
Can you guys hear me now?
we
You can still hear it.
can move to the free voice or a
No,
different.
I don't hear it anymore. You guys still hear it?
I still
Yeah.
hear it. Yeah, let me switch it up again.
Reconnect.
I do.
Everyone
Yeah.
reconnect.
Yeah, maybe reconnect because we fixed it.
Wow.
If you DC and
Yeah,
reset, you're good.
yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, that was pretty loud. So poor high is indicated when you have, so if I zoom in here, do you see how we have two letters up top and we don't have any access at the top? Meaning we don't have any selling tail. It's telling you the auction did not complete. We did not have somebody win this auction because it came back twice and there was no clear winner. So when you have two TPOs lined up next to each other, that means it's a poor high at the top. And if it's the same on the bottom, that means there's a poor low. They like to resolve those auctions, especially what? When your profile is what?
A D shape, uppercase D.
When it's D-shaped, that's correct. So when it's D-shaped, they like to resolve that. And what does it look like they did here?
They did exactly that.
They're bouncing, yeah.
And they did exactly what we just said, right? They came in, but when you zoom in a little bit, did they really resolve it on the bottom though? Access is not there, right?
No, there's still no access.
What about the top?
There's access
Yeah,
right
resolved.
there.
Yeah, so at the top, seems like there's a little bit more aggressive bears tonight. Okay. So I would just keep an eye on it, right? I'm short overnight, so just FYI.
Hey, Shorty. So, in regular trading hours, TPO is more important, but it can still work in ETH.
I mean, I'm looking at it just to analyze what's going on and if it's finished, right? I wouldn't necessarily rely, but it's still giving you the picture of ETH session, right? You have Asia and Europe coming up soon, right? You can still utilize it if you're a pajama trader, right? But I care a lot more about RTH on TPOs than ETH, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
You can utilize it, but you just have to discount the data that you're seeing by quite a bit.
Okay.
And a lot of you guys are addicts to NQ, so yeah. Okay.
So why isn't that single B on the bottom a resolution to it?
It's not a resolution. This is still a single. This is still a poor low. And why is it still a poor low?
It needs to be at least 2 or more.
It needs to have 2 of these letters be there. Like you see how you have, 1, 2, 3 single. I'm sorry, did I say 3 or 4? There's 4. There's 4 singles here at the top, so that's considered access, right? This is a selling tail. And here, there's only 1 that's by itself, and that's considered a poor low. It needs to have 1 more B here. I'm trying to draw, sorry, but you get it? There should be another B there to be considered a complete auction.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sorry, my drawing's a little off. All right. So any questions so far on this and what we're looking at? So tomorrow, I mean, they resolved this ETH, but they didn't really resolve it. Right now, they're leaning a little bit bearish, right? They're below the PDPOC, below previous week value area high, and they have a poor low on ETH. So overnight looks a little bit, I would say, bearish, right? If you're to ask me. The only thing that when you guys zoom in here, if you look at these single prints on this day here, right? But this is probably going to be end period. Let's make sure that that's true. I just, based on what I'm seeing, I would expect them to go tap the 67.71 either tonight or tomorrow morning. So let's see what they have here. Yep. So there was some single prints here, right? And that was access. Period was N. Yeah, that was the crazy day when they had NQ just jump, I think 80 points. See, poor low, poor high. Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily, if tomorrow, if they reclaim this poor low right out of the gate in the first 30 minutes, watch out, right? Because something changed, right? They finished the auction and something changed. They might be looking for a different auction higher. We are framing down on a daily. So until we lose this, I'm not bearish, right? Once we crack this, I would say 95. Guys, this is 11 points here. You can finish your day in 11 points right here, right? If you take that, don't even know how much money one contract ES is 11 points.
I want to say it's
550.
Yeah. 1 point, $50, 11 points, 500 plus 50. So it's a lot of money, guys. 550 is a lot. When you multiply by, let's say, 5 days, that's $2,500 a week. That's 10 grand a month. A lot of you guys are not patient enough to accumulate that. But you're like, man, that's a lot of money. and then you're up $500 and you're still trading. And something's off there. I mean, and you know, it's gonna take you time to figure that out. But I'll send you guys a cartoon that I played for my kid about money and Donald Duck from Disney, so you guys can watch it. You have to start accumulating small wins. Small wins turn into big accounts. You don't get a big account by getting a big win. And the same way you win that big win, I promise you're going to lose at the same speed. So start being grateful for small wins. 11 points is not small. Maybe for some it is, but 11 points is not that bad. Ask Bean if he would call it a day if he catches 11 points on ES. Most people would say, yes, I'm out. And of course, the larger your account, the more comfortable you are with the trading, right? Your percentages and account size will dictate your wins. A lot of you have smaller accounts and you're expecting to make thousands, 2,000, 3,000. If that was the case, guys, we would, I mean, all these hedge fund managers should be fired. You guys should replace them. Right? It's difficult, right? It's difficult to be green every day. It's difficult to make money in the market every day without having emotions interfere with your profits. So be grateful when you win and sometimes just call it a day and log off. Okay. Any questions on ES? Are you guys okay on ES?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look
Yeah,
at
thank you.
this. So NQ, I mean, if you look at it, I would say it's similar pattern to what we are seeing on ES, right? So if you look at the daily, I would say it's framing down, right? And it's a little bit, is it more bearish or bullish on NQ versus ES? Here's your profiles on NQ. I want to see what you guys analyze this as. Here's your NQ.
I think it's a little more bullish.
And here's your ES profile.
I think it's more bullish because we already tested that area and held it.
Okay. Where
It's
did
above the
ES
POC,
close?
and this one's below.
ES closed at pretty much, I mean, just look, we opened here. And where do we close?
We
At the
closed
low
pretty
today.
low. Yeah.
Okay. So now when you go to NQ, let's take a look. Where did you open? Let's zoom in. I'll take a second to open. I mean, where is it? RTH, you open here. And I mean, you closed higher, right?
Yep. You closed in value above the
and you
POC.
closed- exactly. And you closed in the value. So in terms of NQ versus ES, NQ is in a little bit better shape. The only thing that holds NQ back versus ES, it's staring at you, is what? Think carefully the profile shapes you had versus the 2 days. What profile shape is this?
Double distribution, so it has to go over that top node to really be bullish.
Yeah, it has to go above the top node, and it seems to be a pretty heavy node, I would say, right? I mean, you look at it, it's pretty heavy there. You had some massive sell-offs, and then somebody tried again, and they said no. Right, and then when you look at ES on the same setup, right? I'm just trying to teach you guys how I look at stuff. I mean,
Node's
here,
around 90, right? 590-ish zone.
ES,
Is
right?
that on NQ?
Hold on one second. Let me.
Oh,
get
I'm
back.
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, never mind.
On the ES, I mean, you have, you almost have a double distribution, right? On profile here, it looks pretty thick, and we close below that.
Mhm.
So ES has to traverse a little bit more in order to catch up with NQ, if that makes sense, right? If this was closed somewhere in the middle here, it would be probably a quick traverse, but now it has quite a bit. It has to reclaim this, deal with this, zone right here, and then it would be targeting somewhere up top, right? 5308 here. So NQ is in a little bit better shape when I look at it from profile perspective, but it's just that it has a massive node at the top, right? This is a clear double distribution. So now when you look at it, if NQ was to lose this zone right here, right? Why would this be super bearish? Let me switch to ETH for a second.
There's not really a lot of volume under there.
Okay, so pay attention to where was our zone before. After we had this crazy gap up, right? We consolidated in this zone for how long? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, correct?
Correct.
And we came back and we bounced off that level just on Friday. It was a big level. So now if they come back and they lose this level, what would it tell you in terms of price and acceptance?
Price was rejected.
Price is rejected higher. There's a high chance that you're going to be testing in near future the bottom range. And how would I find my targets then if you're able to crack this? Well, you have this massive CPOC that's being built here at 18,290. So if you crack this 506, first target could be here, but I would want to know what? What's the level I would want to know in between? Should I not know where the first SIG is just in case they bounce it right here off of this cumulative 18,456? You want to know it, right? You want to be aware of this level, and then you want to be aware of the bottom. So in case they lose the POC, that becomes your level in between, right? If you don't want to hold from 280, you're shaking till 18,000. You have a level in between that you can be aware of to take that off, right? So I would mark those levels if I was you guys. So that would be your first standard deviation, and a CPOC, the mean. So if we lose this level here, we turn bearish here, right? And then if you, I would say you really want to reclaim this value area low here at 612. If you're to reclaim 612, new all-time high. As simple as that. You reclaim this, we're going higher. Right here. You crack this, we're going to go higher, much higher. They're probably targeting 20K then. And how would we know that, right? Well, I mean, we could basically take this, what they consolidated here at the top. I'll just go a little bit higher time frame so I can use some fibs. And here's our targets. And then you would be targeting, what, I can't see this. 1880, call it 880, right? That will be the next level we're targeting. If they crack this, they will have a strong chance of a run up, right? So I'll definitely watch that. But if they come back to this level, just don't initiate too many shorts at that POC or right below it, right? You want to size down until you see what they do, because this is a pretty big zone. Even if you look a little bit to the left, it's not like the value shifted a lot here. So I'll be a little bit careful here, right? Everybody understand pivots on this, meaning the bullish, the bearish. So I would look to see if we, if we crack this PD POC plus previous week value area high. Could I play this for 30 points right here? Yeah, there's a high chance, 29.75 on points. You could play that, but it's not my ideal play to take. So it would be a low probability trade that I probably would not take it. Right? I'll be looking to see if they execute any traps here. If they go here and they reclaim this, there's a high chance that they will rip it. And I'm sorry, my drawing's horrible just because I don't know what's going on. But does everybody get the point? If they lose this, okay, I don't know what I just did. Okay. So if they lose this and reclaim it, be careful. That's a really, really good trap, right? They could make it here where it's really, really dangerous to play. So watch for confirmation. And how would you confirm that they're sellers here when they're breaking this? How would you guys confirm that?
Order flow?
Say it again.
Order flow?
Yeah, you want to see order flow, right? You want to see some aggressive selling coming through. So that way, first of all, it's new sellers coming in and we need initiation, right? On the bottom of these levels, you need initiative sellers to come in. And if they don't come in, then you're looking for responsive activity to continue. Right? And let's see. So we have a poor high here. Okay. So if we are able to reclaim this, I don't even know where we are, PD value area high, we're right above it. there's a high chance they can rip this even overnight tonight, especially if they make this higher high here. I would expect they hit 612, and you guys should know 612 from last week. And then clear this previous day high, which was poor high as well. And once they clear this level, high chance you're gonna hit this, right? You could play it size down, but it's not the best. In terms of probabilities, look at your candles, the way it played here. It's not ideal trade, but you could definitely take it. I would look to see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens at the extreme low here. So that's what I would be paying attention tomorrow. If they crack this, 500 or 91, whatever the low was, they crack this, then we're targeting the bottom here. And there's quite a bit of points to be made up between here. I would say some single prints here and then here. Any questions?
What time do you plan on hopping on trading tomorrow?
I'll be on right at the open. I'll be on probably 9:20.
Or like when do you not just I didn't mean just invoice, like when do you usually hop on and start looking to take trades in the morning?
I usually wake up, I wake up at 6. So I'll take a look at the market before the kids wake up, just see what they did overnight, if they're net long, short. And at 8:30, I start looking at like the market a little bit more to see what's actually happening.
Cool.
Yep. All right, guys. Well,
Shorty, I got a kind of maybe a little off topic, but the past 2 days we've had have been low range days.
mhm,
So they've been relatively compressed.
that's correct.
So wouldn't you say that probably in the next day or two we're up for a move?
Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be a trend day.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yep,
That's what I was expecting, but I wasn't wanting your thoughts. Yeah.
Tomorrow's, I mean, we have overlap on the daily ranges, right? Not unnecessarily, in terms of value, are we overlapping on RTH, but I would say tomorrow is a pretty big day, probably 150, 200 points. If we don't crack the extremes, right, in the high and low, then we are going to continue building, right? And lately they've done build, comes the news, run 400 points, build, come the news, run 400 points. I mean, that's literally how the market's been going. So maybe they consolidate for a couple of days until the next set of news is around, and then we rip again. So we're going to watch and kind of monitor. That's why I said I'm really interested to see what happens here. Because if they defend this here, they fail and they reclaim it, then I know it's a new all-time high coming.
Because to me, ES and NQ look like they're doing opposite things.
Well, like we just covered, right? I believe NQ is a little bit stronger at the moment.
Yeah.
But NQ can, change that in the blink of an eye, right, with the candle. And if we reclaim 95 on ES, guess what? Then ES is playing catch up, and there's a high chance they're going to run together.
Yeah.
So I would be really, really careful of that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
See you tomorrow, Shorty.
See you guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.